Today, we're going to talk about the language. Language, my friend. Need a hat. So today, seriously, I'm not joking, I am going to talk about the importance of language. And the language in Japanese and English, in every language that you speak, is essentially magic. And utilizing this magic allows you to manifest and attract a lot of things, beautiful things and abundance into your life. Because essentially that's how society and government and all the other people, successful people trying to manipulate your psychological space, that's how people try to program you in a certain way. There's an interesting story in Christianity that the priest used to tell parents that bring your child, bring your boy, bring your son, and I'll make him into a man. Because up to 7 years old, we are basically in this downloading information period of time that we are constantly programming our mind to form a certain level of personality, a certain level of identity in each individual. So man and woman doesn't matter. So we are constantly, subconsciously downloading information to program ourselves. Imagine so many things in people are trying to tap into your psychological space and program certain belief of yours without you knowing it. And that's happening everywhere. When you watch news, when you open social media, when you're watching TikTok, everything is essentially done with the purpose to program your belief. Because your belief is the most powerful aspect for you to create your reality, or at least to live the way that you live. You live the way you live because you believe certain things. You believe something, you believe in God, you believe in self-love, you believe in this and that, you believe the sky's blue. So everything you believe is essentially real to you. Everything that you don't believe is somehow less real, to you at least. For these people, or the government or society or the matrix, to program you in a certain way is because that essentially can control someone else's life. And how do they do that? It's the language. The language, how do you say the letters that form a word? How do you call that? It's called a spell. And what is a spell? It's a magic. It's a spell is what exactly witches use to use the magic. And the language fundamentally is the spell. The language fundamentally is the magic itself. But especially modern days, we don't appreciate the language. We don't really appreciate the affirmation. We don't really appreciate the things that we say out loud. And here's what happens if you don't actually utilize your own power, the own magic, which is things that you say, things that you speak out, or even the things that you say in your mind. A lot of people are stuck in the cage or the prison of this programming and societal condition and things that we mindlessly believe. Because somehow that's what we are taught. Somehow that's what our parents taught. But somehow that we heard that from our friends. Or everybody else is talking about this. Everybody else is following this certain way. Oh, because I am 30 years old, I'm supposed to have a house with a bunch of mortgage. I'm supposed to be married and I'm supposed to have 3 kids. And I'm supposed to have Mercedes or BMW, which is affordable for my income or whatever. That doesn't have to be the way, but why a lot of people follow that? And then when you're looking at a lot of people people go to college, people get the job, people do this, people do that. You are programmed in a certain way, which dictates your decisions. So that's why a lot of people are unhappy and are not contented, just always looking for something else that never really been in the present moment, never really fulfilled. Their passion and purpose are gone now, because the only thing they follow is the program. The language is also the way to get out from that. The language is also how you can program yourself, how you can hypnotize yourself, how you can literally brainwash yourself in a different way. And this is very interesting, since we are speaking about this language and magic. Imagine that you think about brainwash, the word brainwash, the idea of brainwash is somehow negative, isn't it? Like if you hear the word brainwash, then we immediately think about something negative, like some bad person trying to brainwash people, or put into a cult, or make them do some bad shit. But brainwash itself is not a bad word. But isn't it weird that you call it's a brainwash, it seems like a very cleansing, you wash your brain. It seems like something very more positive. You wash your hands, you wash your body, you wash your head, and you wash your brain. Why brainwash has the negative idea? That's exactly what I was saying about belief. If you believe brainwash is bad, that is bad to you at least. So whatever you believe good and bad is completely conditioned by some external factors. And the reason why we need to change that by brainwash ourselves, or at least using affirmation and using the magic, the power of the language to navigate ourselves, to deconstruct the idea that we have in the belief structure, so that we can actually believe things that we want to believe instead of just following whatever we are told and then end up feeling miserable and then just feeling lost and not knowing why you end up there. And I will give you an example. For example, in Japanese, we have so many different alphabet, which is actually originates in China. It came from China and then we adapted, so we have that unique alphabet, which is very similar to the Chinese or Chinese character. But that each letter has so much meaning, and each letter has so many ways to pronounce, and there's always like a story behind, which is very interesting as an alphabet. If we look at the alphabet or language in that way, especially specifically this Japanese language or Chinese alphabet, is so unique and it has own story and a unique understanding, the way it comes from and everything. This letter, and each letter has so much power and so much wisdom in it. I make contents about this, and for example, one of them actually is about the discipline. And discipline is such an important aspect for a human being, because in a modern society it's very difficult. If you don't choose to stay disciplined, so many things are too easy that we lose all this beauty, because without discipline we don't find the beauty of the accomplishment itself. Easy come, easy go, we don't appreciate things. And if we talk about a primordial level, let's say we human being as an animal, as a species, then obviously if you want to eat, you have to go on a hunt, you have to climb up a tree, you have to understand, have a knowledge what to eat and what not to eat. You have to be connected to the nature and understanding what is poison and what is not, right? You don't accidentally eat the mushroom and then I start laughing. You just wanted to eat mushroom to fulfill you to get a nutrition, and now you're laughing and you're psychedelic experience, hallucinating, and you're seeing a vision, right? So like you have to understand what is eatable and what is not. So now we don't have those connections. We cannot just like look at the mushrooms and like, oh, this is gonna give us a hallucination, and oh, this is a good mushroom that what we eat, in hot pot and everything. We don't have that connection with the nature because we lost it. Why? Because we skip all the discipline. We go to the supermarket. We don't do all this survival exploring and understanding nature and living in part of the nature. The same goes to language. We don't have the connection because now we text. We don't pay attention to each letters and then each things that we say. The word used to carry much more meaning to it. But that's why I'm making these type of contents, to remind myself and then also share the wisdom, especially coming from these Japanese letters and history. So how we can actually utilize the power of the language is, as I said, affirmations. And really be so aware of things that we say. Again, you have to understand that when you want to do affirmation or when you want to say something, then you have to believe it. But the important key is you have to believe it. You have to convince yourself when you state affirmations or when you say something. If I say, well, I'm not that tall, I'm small, I'm 6.1, so I don't believe that I'm a small. Well, sure, if I go to Netherlands or Sweden, then I can feel a little bit shorter than I feel in Japan, because Japanese people tend to be smaller compared to the Swedish people or Netherlands, Dutch people are so fucking tall that I could feel a little bit shorter, but I am a tall person, 6.1 is enough. So if I say I'm not tall, then I don't believe in this state. Right? So if you don't believe something that you say, it actually doesn't affect it that much. However, if you keep saying that you're ugly, I cannot do this, I'm not worthy, I'm this and that, and then once you do that repeatedly, then there's some point that you start believing what you're saying. So if you're saying as a joke, then you can state those things. But if you mindlessly start saying the same thing, oh, I'm not tall, I'm not tall, I'm not tall, I'm short, I'm short, I'm short, and that's literally how you're going to feel. That becomes your real, because essentially if you're experiencing internally, it doesn't matter if you're 6.1 or not. That's how you feel, and that's your experience, so that's your reality. Be careful when it comes to the stating negative sentences, saying out loud, even if it's a joke. If you do that repeatedly and actually start believing that, that becomes your reality. And on the other hand, if you want to feel better, if you want to feel confident, if you want to feel, or if you want to be successful, if you want to be happy, then you have to state that instead of joking around and you're saying that you're not rich, I'm not rich, I'm not successful, I'm not happy, I don't like myself. Even if it's a joke, don't say that. There's so much power in affirmation. And a lot of people talk about like, oh, affirmation is bullshit. Like, why would you think that just saying things makes you like rich and successful? You gotta do the work. No. There are so many people who are utilizing that. And obviously the work is a part of the package, right? The feeling, thoughts, and action has to be intertwined and connected internally, and that essentially becomes your experience, that becomes your reality. That's how you manifest. However, if you utilize the power of magic, everything becomes so effortlessly. And again, the magic is something beyond of this like physical effort, right? That's why it's called magic. And here's exactly how you do the affirmation correctly. So the first, you have to pick any affirmations, but make it simple. Like, I don't want you to just go and like, yeah, the universe is allowing me to harmonize my potential, and like, don't complicate things. Make it simple, all right? Leonardo da Vinci said, the simplicity is the ultimate sophistication. So you have to make it simple, easy to understand for yourself, and state that affirmation. Repeat 3 to 5 times. And then when you do this, for example, I'll give you an example. I am confident, I'm attractive, and I'm amazing. Let's say that's one of your affirmation, right? You can have multiple affirmations. That's very simple, easy to state. And when you state those affirmations, you want to convince yourself, okay? Anyway, for example, I curse. The reason why I do that is because I put so much masculine energy, and I literally just shout. I could say out loud, I put the energy. Like, don't do the affirmation like, my universe is harmonizing my power and then blah, blah, blah. Don't do that. You're not tapping into the energy at all, okay? How do you activate your energy? It's the movement. The movement is the way to activate energy. So you want to state affirmation. I am confident, I'm attractive, I'm amazing. Yeah. And then if you have to curse, or if you have to like shout or scream in your mind, you can do that too. But preferably say out loud. Say out loud with a decent volume of your voice. And every morning, or it doesn't have to be in only one morning, you can say anytime you want. You want to state this multiple affirmation that you have or you set for yourself. And you just convince yourself each time that you say, I'm confident, I'm attractive, and amazing. Yeah. And then you want to say that repeatedly 3 to 5 times. And every time you really put the energy into it, you really convince yourself. And then don't stop. It doesn't matter if it's 6th or 10th. Don't stop until you convince yourself. Until you actually feel some level of energy from that affirmation. Don't stop it. It's a magic, but you have to practice it. So until you actually feel something by saying these affirmations, just don't stop it. I said 3 to 5 times because I preferably say that 3 to 5 times. But obviously, before, when I started it, I was saying 10 times. I was saying 20 times. I didn't care. But repeat it 3 to 5 times, or if you need, do it 10 times. And then convince yourself, like literally. If you have somebody right there, and then he's so amazing, or she's so amazing, beautiful, but this, let's say she's a girl, okay? She's a girl and she's beautiful, but she's saying like, no, I'm not beautiful, I'm ugly. What are you gonna say? Like, wake up. You are so fucking beautiful. Shut the fuck up. So that's how you want to convince yourself. Imagine that you are that person and you want to convince somebody like that. Like, yo, wake the fuck up. And then if you do that every day, the magic spell becomes so strong, and then you start to connect your belief system with your affirmation. And then once your affirmation comes into your belief system, then this is what the rewiring happens. And then when you start to rewire your belief structure, you could believe the sky's red. And I'm not saying, like, I'm not bullshitting. Like, if you can believe, I don't care, like, the other millions of people said the sky's blue. If you can believe the sky's red to you. And it doesn't matter, everybody else says that you're wrong. It doesn't matter. Use this affirmation technique every single day, and then watch your life changes in 2024. Alright, I'm serious. Do the practice. So you gotta stay disciplined, but this requires a small discipline, right? Like, just every day, you just put yourself in a seat, write things down, put affirmations on your wall. I used to have like bunch of sticker notes and everywhere on my wall when I was living in this shitty apartment, so I can always remind myself and I visually can see it and say it. You can put all these walls filled with affirmations in a toilet or next to your desk, next to your bed. Always do this convincingly. Brainwash yourself, convince yourself that you are what you're saying. Or with this said, Merry Christmas. And do not say things that you don't want or you don't want to be, or something that you are not. Start saying that you are confident. Start saying that you're amazing, and then never feel guilty about this. Alright, with this said, Merry Christmas, and I'll speak to you tomorrow. Peace. Live your life like a movie.